Small wardrobe problems add up. A sleeve that won't sit right, a dress that gapes, a tee that looks shapeless. These are the tiny frictions that make getting dressed feel like a chore. They don't ruin an outfit, but they quietly erode confidence. Today we'll fix those frictions with practical, safe, and reusable clothing hacks that actually improve proportion, polish, and movement, not just for a photo, but for everyday life. Each hack begins with a problem, explains why it happens, gives a clear fix, and tells you when to use it, and when not to. Quick note on how to use these hacks. These are styling principles, not rules. Think silhouette, proportion, and visual weight. Use each hack to solve a specific problem, then step back and ask, does this preserve the garment structure? Does it support my personal style? If yes, it's worth trying. Hacks 1 to 6. Beginner fixes. Everyone needs hack 1. Tee that looks boxy problem. Your basic tee looks shapeless and hides your waist. Why it happens. Cotton tees often have a straight cut and heavy fabric that sits away from the body. Solution. Do a simple front tuck or half tuck and then smooth the fabric at the sides so the tuck sits low and soft. Styling psychology. The tuck creates a subtle waist cue, restoring proportion without changing the tee's casual feel. Works best with medium weight cotton or slub tees. Limitations. Avoid very cropped tops or delicate knits that will distort. Hack 2. Sleeves that flare or gape problem. Sleeve hems flare or the shoulder seam droops. Why it happens. Wrong sleeve length or heavy fabric pulls the shoulder line down. Solution. Insert a small safety pin into the sleeve hem to create a tiny inward fold at the underarm. It reduces flare and visually lifts the shoulder. Styling psychology. Tightening the sleeve at the underarm restores the shoulder's natural line, making the silhouette appear neater. Works best for casual blouses and shirts, temporary and invisible from the outside. Limitations. Don't use on sheer fabrics where the pin might show. Hack 3. Gaping blouse at the bust. Problem. Buttons pull or a V-neck gapes. Why it happens. Fabric tension across the bust creates gaps. Solution. Add a small, clear snap or a discreet hook eye behind the placket to close the gap without altering the silhouette. Styling psychology. Closing the gap keeps the eye moving vertically, preserving a clean line and perceived tailoring. Works best on button-downs and blouses. Limitations. Avoid permanent fixes on vintage or delicate fabrics. Use removable hardware. Hack 4. Pants that slide down. Problem. Waistband slips and you keep hitching your pants. Why it happens. Slightly oversized waist or low-rise cut that doesn't sit on your natural waist. Solution. Sew a tiny strip of non-slip elastic inside the waistband at the back, or use a silicone waistband strip. Styling psychology. Anchoring the waistband restores proportion and prevents constant readjustment, which undermines polish. Works best for trousers and jeans with a bit of room at the waist. Limitations. Don't over-tighten, comfort matters. Hack 5. Hem too long, no time for tailoring. Problem. Pants or skirts drag or look sloppy. Why it happens. Off-the-rack lengths rarely match your height. Solution. Use double-sided fashion tape to temporarily secure a folded hem inside the garment. Press flat. Styling psychology. A clean hemline sharpens the silhouette and prevents visual clutter at the feet. Works best for one-off events or when you need a quick fix. Limitations. Not a long-term solution. Tape can lose adhesion with sweat or washing. Hack 6. Shoes that rub problem. New shoes give blisters or pinch. Why it happens. Stiff materials and seams that haven't softened. Solution. Wear thick socks and heat the problem area gently with a hairdryer while flexing the shoe, or use gel heel grips. Styling psychology. Comfortable feet change posture and gait, which affects how clothes hang and how confident you appear. Works best. Leather or faux leather shoes. Limitations: don't overheat delicate materials, test carefully. Hack 7 to 12, proportion and silhouette adjustments. Hack 7, make a dress more flattering at the waist. Problem: a straight dress looks shapeless. Why it happens: lack of waist definition flattens the figure. Solution: add a thin belt at the natural waist or use a sash tied slightly off-center to create a soft hourglass. Styling psychology: a waist cue divides the body into balanced segments, improving perceived proportion. Works best with mid-length and midi dresses. Limitations: avoid heavy belts on delicate fabrics, choose a belt that complements fabric weight. Small wardrobe problems add up. A sleeve that won't sit right, a dress that gapes, a tee that looks shapeless, these are the tiny frictions that make getting dressed feel. Hack 8, shorten a long sleeve visually. Problem: long sleeves make arms look shorter or overwhelm small frames. Why it happens: excess sleeve length adds visual weight to the arm. Solution: push sleeves up to the forearm and secure with a small elastic loop hidden inside the cuff, creating a deliberate, tailored scrunch. Styling psychology: exposing the forearm creates a vertical break and lightens the arm visually. Works best with structured shirts and lightweight knits. Limitations: not ideal for garments that must remain formal. Hack 9, make oversized blazers look intentional. Problem: an oversized blazer looks sloppy rather than chic. Why it happens: proportions are off when the blazer's shoulders and length overwhelm the body. Solution: add a single hidden snap at the waist to create a subtle closure, or belt the blazer to define the torso. Styling psychology: a defined center restores balance between the blazer's volume and your frame. Works best with boxy, menswear-inspired blazers. Limitations: avoid snapping on delicate linings, use a belt for a softer effect. Hack 10, thin fabric clings to underwear lines. Problem: visible panty lines or bra outlines under clingy fabrics. Why it happens: smooth, thin fabrics reveal underlying textures. Solution: switch to seamless undergarments or use a lightweight slip layer. For bras, try a thin camisole or a smoothing bralette. Styling psychology: a smooth underlayer keeps the surface uninterrupted, which reads as more polished on camera and in person. Works best under body skimming dresses and skirts. Limitations: slips add warmth, choose breathable fabrics in summer. Hack 11, make crop tops feel more versatile. Problem: crop tops feel limiting and hard to style. Why it happens: crops break the torso at an awkward point for many body types. Solution: layer a high-waisted bottom or a long-line camisole underneath to extend the torso visually. Styling psychology: extending the torso creates a continuous vertical line, which lengthens and balances proportions. Works best with high-waisted jeans and skirts. Limitations: avoid bulky layers that add visual weight. Hack 12, baggy sleeves drown a small frame. Problem: dramatic sleeves overpower a petite silhouette. Why it happens: volume concentrated at the arms draws attention away from the waist. Solution: balance volume by pairing with a fitted bottom or by tucking the top into a high waist to reintroduce shape. Styling psychology: contrasting volume with structure creates a deliberate silhouette rather than accidental overwhelm. Works best with statement sleeve blouses. Limitations: if you prefer a relaxed look, accept the volume and keep other elements minimal. Hacks 13 to 18, fabric behavior and texture tricks. Hack 13, make satin less slippery. Problem: satin tops slide off straps or shift. Why it happens: smooth fibers have low friction. Solution: add a small strip of clear silicone tape at the shoulder seam inside the garment to increase grip. Styling psychology: stabilizing the garment keeps the intended drape and prevents constant adjustment, which reads as more composed. Works best for camisoles and slip dresses. Limitations: use sparingly, some silicones can mark delicate fabrics. Hack 14, prevent knit sag at the hem. Problem: knit tops stretch out at the hem after wear. Why it happens: knits relax with movement and weight. Solution: reinforce the hem with a narrow strip of fusible interfacing on the inside, invisible but supportive. Styling psychology, a firmer hem preserves the garment's intended silhouette and prevents the worn-in droop that looks unpolished. Works best for heavier knits and sweaters. Limitations, avoid interfacing on very lightweight knits that need to drape. Hack 15, make prints less busy. Problem, a loud print overwhelms your look. Why it happens, high contrast patterns dominate the visual field. Solution, anchor the print with a neutral blazer or solid accessory that picks a color from the print. Styling psychology, a neutral anchor gives the eye a resting point and integrates the print into a cohesive outfit. Works best for bold florals and geometric prints. Limitations, don't mute a print you love, instead, pair it thoughtfully. Crisp without ironing problem, linen looks wrinkled quickly. Why it happens, linen fibers crease naturally with movement. Solution, use a light spray of water and smooth with your hands, or hang the garment in a steamy bathroom to relax wrinkles. Styling psychology, slight texture reads as intentional ease, too much crispness can look stiff. Works best for casual linen pieces. Limitations, for formal settings, a proper press is still best. Hack 17, make sheer fabrics feel less revealing problem, sheer blouses feel too exposed. Why it happens, sheer fabrics reveal underlying contrast. Solution, layer a tonal camisole or a slip in the same color family to maintain the blouse's color story while adding coverage. Styling psychology, tonal layering preserves the garment's aesthetic while controlling visual transparency. Works best for office-appropriate sheer pieces. Limitations, avoid mismatched tones that create a floating effect. Hack 18, add polish to casual knits problem, a casual knit looks too relaxed for a smart casual setting. Why it happens, soft textures lack structure. Solution, tuck the front into tailored trousers and add a structured blazer or a crisp collar to elevate the look. Styling psychology, combining soft and structured pieces creates contrast that reads as intentional refinement. Works best for transitional seasons. Limitations, don't overlayer in heat, choose breathable fabrics. Hacks 19 to 24, advanced tailoring and finishing touches. Hack 19, make a blazer look tailored without a tailor problem, off-the-rack blazers feel boxy. Why it happens, standard cuts don't match individual shoulder and waist shapes. Solution, use shoulder pads sparingly or add a small interior dart at the waist, a quick hand sew, to create subtle shaping. Styling psychology, slide tailoring aligns the blazer with your proportions, improving posture and perceived polish. Works best for structured blazers. Limitations, don't overdart, subtlety is key. Hack 20, keep collars lying flat problem, shirt collars curl or stand up. Why it happens, collar interfacing is worn or fabric is too soft. Solution, insert a thin collar stay or use a tiny bit of double-sided tape at the collar points to anchor them. Styling psychology, a flat collar frames the face cleanly and signals attention to detail. Works best for button-down shirts and lightweight jackets. Limitations, avoid tape on delicate fabrics. Hack 21, make a skirt sit perfectly on the hips problem, skirts ride up or twist. Why it happens, fabric friction and cut mismatch with your hip shape. Solution, sew a small loop inside the waistband and attach it to a button on your underwear or use a discreet waistband grip. Styling psychology, stabilizing the skirt keeps the hemline even, which preserves proportion and movement. Works best for pencil skirts and A-lines. Limitations, ensure comfort, don't create pressure points. Hack 22, fix a zipper that won't stay up problem, zipper slides down during wear. Why it happens, worn teeth or a loose slider. Solution, loop a small elastic hair tie through the zipper pull and hook it over the button to keep the zipper anchored. Styling psychology, a secure closure prevents constant adjustments and keeps the garment's line intact. Works best for skirts and pants with top buttons. Limitations, not suitable for garments without a button anchor. Hack 23, make a neckline more flattering problem, a neckline feels too high or too low for your preference. Why it happens: cut doesn't match your torso proportions. Solution: layer a delicate pendant or a long line necklace to change the focal point, or add a removable lace trim to soften a high neckline. Styling psychology: redirecting the eye changes perceived length and balance without altering the garment. Works best for dresses and tops where cutting is not an option. Limitations: avoid heavy jewelry that competes with the neckline. Hack 24. Keep colors from fading between washes. Problem: favorite colors look dull after a few washes. Why it happens: dye loss from agitation and heat. Solution: wash inside out in cold water with a gentle detergent and add a splash of white vinegar to set color occasionally. Styling psychology: preserving color maintains the garment's visual impact and perceived quality. Works best for saturated colors and dark denim. Limitations: vinegar is not a substitute for professional dye setting on delicate fabrics. Hacks 25 to 30. Creative versatility and longevity. Hack 25. Turn one dress into two looks. Problem: you want more mileage from a single dress. Why it happens: wardrobes often lack layering imagination. Solution: layer a cropped sweater over a slip dress for a skirt effect, or add a belt and blazer to make it office appropriate. Styling psychology: changing the garment's focal point shifts its perceived function, increasing versatility. Works best for slip and midi dresses. Limitations: keep proportions balanced, bulky layers can hide the dress's shape. Hack 26. Make jewelry look intentional, not accidental. Problem: accessories feel mismatched. Why it happens: random layering without a color or scale strategy. Solution: choose one metal tone and one scale, delicate or bold, and repeat it across pieces to create cohesion. Styling psychology: repetition creates rhythm and visual harmony, making accessories feel curated. Works best for everyday looks and layered necklaces. Limitations: don't force uniformity if your aesthetic is eclectic. Hack 27. Refresh a faded tee without dyeing. Problem: a beloved tee looks tired. Why it happens: surface wear and pilling. Solution: use a fabric shaver to remove pills, then press the tee on low heat to revive the fibers, add a small patch or embroidery to disguise a stain. Styling psychology: small repairs signal care and extend the garment's life while adding personality. Works best for cotton and blends. Limitations: avoid aggressive shaving on thin fabrics. Hack 28. Make a statement coat more wearable. Problem: a dramatic coat feels too theatrical for daily wear. Why it happens: strong silhouettes can dominate an outfit. Solution: pair with neutral, fitted basics and keep accessories minimal so the coat reads as the focal point rather than costume. Styling psychology: grounding a statement piece with restraint keeps it wearable and elegant. Works best for bold colors and oversized shapes. Limitations: if the coat is impractical for weather, reserve it for appropriate days. Hack 29. Store shoes to preserve shape. Problem: shoes lose structure in storage. Why it happens: improper support and humidity. Solution: use shoe trees or stuffed toes with acid-free tissue and store in breathable boxes. Styling psychology: well-maintained shoes elevate every outfit. They're a small investment with big visual returns. Works best for leather and structured footwear. Limitations: not necessary for inexpensive seasonal shoes. Hack 30. Build a capsule outfit quickly. Problem: decision fatigue when dressing. Why it happens: too many choices without a guiding principle. Solution: pick 3 neutrals and 1 accent color, choose 1 structured piece, 1 soft piece, and 1 accessory to repeat the accent. Styling psychology: limiting variables creates a cohesive look fast, repetition of color and texture signals intentionality. Works best for travel and busy mornings. Limitations: this method is a starting point, not a creative constraint. Reality check: what most people overlook. Here's what many creators miss: small adjustments change perception more than big changes. A tidy hem, a stable waistband, or a defined waistline shifts how the entire outfit reads. These are not tricks to hide yourself, they're tools to make clothes behave the way they were designed to, so your personal style can be the focus. Closing reflection: fashion is not about perfection. It's about making clothes work for you so you can move through your day with less friction and more confidence. These hacks are practical interventions, small, reversible, and respectful of the garment. Use them to clarify your silhouette, preserve your pieces, and express your aesthetic with intention. When clothes fit the life you live, they stop being a problem and start being a language. Wear that language with calm confidence. End note, try 1 or 2 hacks this week. Notice how small changes affect posture, movement, and how you feel. That's the real measure of good styling.
Fashion isn't remembered because it's expensive. It's remembered because it feels effortless. The smallest adjustments often create the biggest transformation, not because they change your clothes, but because they change how you move, how you carry yourself, and how confidently you step into every room. That's where real style begins. In the next film, we'll explore another overlooked principle that quietly separates outfits that simply look good from ones that feel unforgettable. Once you notice it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Subscribe to stay ahead of what most people only notice after it's already changed the way they dress.